Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. Today we're debunking some human magnetic field nonsense. I'm not going to say this man's a grifter. This man has just listened to a grifter and thought he was correct. So to me, this man is just ignorant and doesn't know any better. But he's learned all this from a grifter of how to strengthen your magnetic field, and his video is called How to Strengthen the Human Magnetic Field. So I'm going to take this to bits for the nonsense that it is by talking about magnetics during his demonstration of playing with your magnet.
About an inch or so apart and slowly in and out, just like your heartbeat. If you're calm, it should be nice and slow and steady.
What that has to do with magnetics, I've no idea. Why do you have no magnetics if your heart is beating fast?
You will feel tingling and some warmth develop in the palm and fingers.
People can get tingling when they use their muscles, and your hands give off a vast amount of radiation, heat. So yeah, you moving your hands together, you will feel heat, radiation. And if you're an old geezer like him, things might start tingling. So keep that in mind.
And then you will feel your hands start to pull together.
Okay, so we're getting to the magnetics of it, because his video is called Strengthen the Human Magnetic Field. You can see it at the bottom there. So he just said you'll start to feel your hands pulling together. So if that's magnetism, one of his hands has to be north and one of his hands has to be south, because only two opposing fields like that, two opposite fields, can actually wrap into each other. So that would make sense if you wanted to explain it in such a way that your right hand is clockwise and your left hand is counterclockwise. And then you could say, okay, one is north, one is south. That's why they are magnetically pulling together. So let's go with that. Let's pretend that his magnetic hands are pulling themselves together, which means one must be north and one must be south. And it makes sense because one is clockwise, right hand, and the left hand is counterclockwise. So in magnetics, that would make sense. Vaguely.
And just like a calm heartbeat, feel for this. The next thing you want to do.
Now this guy does something new. He moves his hands in and out and says heartbeat, which is basically all you're doing is wafting hot air from one hand to the other due to the radiation that your hands are giving off. Anyway, let's keep going.
Just take your hands out. You'll feel the pull fade away.
Oh, this is a really important part. He's pulled his magnetic hands apart until he can no longer feel a pull from his north hand and his south hand.
And once you get out about shoulder width and start coming slowly back in, you will start to feel a slight pushback in the palms.
Okay, let's talk about magnetics. One of his hands has now become the same pole as his other hand. So his hands have gone from being pulling together north and south. Now they have to be either north and north, left and right, or south and south, left and right. Because if you're strengthening the human magnetic field, this push that he's now pushing against something means you now have two north poles. So he's somehow magically managed to change the field of one of his hands. Yeah.
Kind of like a deflated balloon.
So if we're talking about magnetics, one of his hands is now in opposite polarity, so that it's now repulsing his other hand. Whereas 2 minutes ago, it was attracting, impulsing his other hand.
And once you get to that pushback, just like before, calm is key.
And this nonsense is to strengthen the human magnetic field, when really the only way you'll do that is by working out exercises and getting big muscles, because all muscles are the magnetic field of your bones. Your bones are the electrical part and your muscles are the electromagnetic part, which is why they are so fibrous, because magnets all have Birkeland currents on them, like fingers, like hair, like muscle fibre. So if you want to increase your magnet strength, you should get healthy. But no, you have to sit there breathing and waving your hands like you farted.
Nice, slow, and steady.
So again, this guy isn't the grifter. He's not trying to grift. He's just listened to a grifter, heard his nonsense, doesn't know Jesus, and so he believes in this. But I've just debunked his strengthening of his human magnetic field, because what he's talking about has zero to do with magnetics, unless of course he can change the polarity of one side of his body, and none of us believe that. He just says, oh, they're pulling apart because a grifter told me, and oh, they're pushing together because a grifter told me. So this man is unfortunately just not doing things right. He's another man who waves his hands at things and knocks cans over with them and stupid rubbish like that, which I've shown me doing, and it's all air pressure. Anything else?
Now, he just showed you what I do to help me sleep if I wake up.
And that's the grifter talking, who's doing what he told him to do, and now he just says he has to do that if he wakes up during the night. Well, you heard the man saying control your breathing and make sure you're really relaxed. Well, that's what puts you to sleep. You waving your fart hands around isn't what puts you to sleep. It's the breathing exercises. And anybody wants to learn how to sleep, biggest one in through your nose, relax your entire body as you breathe out. Do that for about a minute and you'll be out cold in a minute. I guarantee it. Big sniff through the nose, fill up them lungs, hold it, and then just let your body collapse as you exhale. Do that for a minute and you'll be passed out. Apparently this guy has to rub his hands together. All right, thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and today we were looking at just an ignorant, easily led person, and then we heard the grifter. So again, it's all nonsense, and again, I just debunked it with science. Thanks a lot. Bye.